Stay right there. Stay right there. Yeah. Stay right there. Stay right there. Everybody say, go Jesus, go Jesus. Go Jesus, go Jesus, go. Go Jesus, go Jesus, go. Go Jesus, go Jesus, go. Put a praise on it. 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 Just go Jesus, go Jesus, go. Go Jesus, go Jesus, go. Go Jesus, go Jesus, go. Put my name on it. He can hear. Put my name on it. Make it real big. Put my name on it. Put my name on it. God bless it. Put my name on it. Give it a verse. Makes no difference what you're going through. You're gonna make it. God's gonna see you through. Hold your head up. Put a smile on your face. It's another day. It's another way. You're ready. Get ready for your miracle. Get ready for your blessing. Get ready for your miracle. I know you've been hurting deep down inside. Let me encourage you. It's gonna be alright. Trouble is round. I'm gonna make you strong. Keep on believing. Keep on pushing on. Get ready for your blessing. Get ready for your miracle. For your blessing. Get ready for your bring it down. Bring it down. Get ready now. I'm being ready. God's gonna bless. 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 Let's go, come on.
So I had to share that. I had to share that. I had to share that. What a precious, special moment. I had to share that. So last recording I did in the room with him, seeing him many places. So I want to talk about something, and I won't be able to talk about. I'm doing Can We Talk on a Thursday. If you know me, you know I normally do my Can We Talks on Fridays. But Friday is a very busy day, from the morning, afternoon, towards the evening. In the morning, the homegoing celebration for Mom Dolores Burdett is in the morning. And then later that evening, be at the home church as my pastor and the first lady of the New Haven Church of God in Christ will be celebrating 40 years of pastoral service. 40 years of pastoral service. So that's tomorrow evening, and his celebration all through the week. So greetings to everyone. Welcome to the Mind of Loveridge. If you have not submitted, please go to my YouTube and subscribe. Invite other people to come. Also, for those who may not know, if you're not busy, I'm speaking at the home church on this upcoming Sunday morning at 11 a.m. That's New Haven Church of God in Christ, 7426 South Hoover in the city of Los Angeles, California. All right. All right. So this is Can We Talk? And I want to get into this conversation. So, Father, pray that you help us and help me to help us all in Jesus' name. All right. So this is a conversation that is not foreign. Hey, what's up, Bishop? Love you too, man. This is not a conversation I'm going to have that is foreign. And even though this conversation isn't foreign, it's something we have to have it's like we almost have to have a conversation. No, to answer that question, Kylan, no, our closeout will be in the morning. So closeout is in the morning at our morning worship. No 3 o'clock service, no 3:30 service. Okay? I mean, we may do something afterwards, like eat and fellowship, but that's it. So I want us to see something, and maybe I should have put in a comment, Can We Talk? I don't know if y'all can see it at the top, Can We Talk, in my little box. But I want to talk about this. Do you have a right to announce someone's death, celebrity or not, before the family? As I peruse through the internet after it got out that Bishop Norman Hutchins transition, as I perused and I looked around, I noticed some things. And right now, somebody can say, well, there is no right answer to this. And I believe one of the most disrespectful things I've read, and I've even heard people say, is, well, if they popular, LeBron James passed, it's going to get out there. I think we need to really come to a place of understanding about that. And I know, it's an opinion, but I'm going to just keep it 100. I think what I'm getting ready to say is a right opinion to have, because, and I think it's factual, when we look at everything that's connected. And so if I'm going to answer this question, which I'm going to answer it, and I'm not going to beat around the bush. Please like and share and like this if you be so kind. People make an announcement about someone's death before the family does. Let's just deal with that. I'm going to say in most cases the answer is no. People should not announce someone's death before the family does. Here's my reasoning why. Here it is, out of respect. It's out of respect that this should not be done. It's out of respect. I believe the family should be the first to share the news. Here it is, on their terms, in their time. Whenever they get ready, whatever they decide to do, they should share the news whenever they get it out there. Most time when we're announcing a death prematurely, you put people in shock, cause people or hurt loved ones who haven't even yet been informed. You just, if you haven't been informed yet, some people don't know. Like I was talking to some students today, and just the information just kind of shook me. And I'm not one of those who, unlike a lot of people, I'm not one of those who had Bishop Norman Hutchins' phone number. I don't have the number of his wife, Dr. Hutchins. I don't have the number of any of his family members. What I do have is a humble man that took the time to talk to me, that knew who I was, whether I called him or not, or he called me or not, who gave me an opportunity to share their to share when he was at Greater Harvest in Long Beach. My name was recommended. I was honored because it was Norman Hutchins. Like, what? Man, I was doing stuff in West Angeles. Like, who wouldn't be honored? Well, some people don't. Yeah. I was honored for that. And because of that moment and gave me that opportunity, it opened up other doors that I was not expecting. And I appreciate him taking the time to sow into my life, into that. Years ago, he had different concerts there and whatnot. And there was an opportunity for me to do something. He gave me the opportunity, not because I asked for it, but because he respected my ministry. He respected what I could do. And definitely when encouraged me not too long ago concerning singing. I always use the Bishop Marvin Sapp expression. And so, it's what it is. All right. Let me go back. Let me go to here. I'm with you, Overseer Bishop Wilkins. I don't even post up like this one hurts. If here's the one that, I did that one time in all my life, bro. And what I did one time in all my life, it was recent, and it was just coming, and it just overwhelmed me. And I was like, I normally don't do this. And that's what I wrote. I normally don't do this, but this one got me. And I was like, Lord, again. It got me. In such a way that it hurt my heart. That's the only time I've ever done that, because it just came, in the anniversary of Dwayne Johnson's death and my dad's death, and Dwayne passing 4 years ago, May 14th, my dad 2 years, then Mother Burdette transitioned, and then one of the young men that I helped raise with my sis, Melinda Harris. That thing shook me. It shook me. I was like, oh my gosh, just the news of that just got me. You said yes is okay, death and birth is not a secret. Sorry. Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this in advance. I can't say it in advance. I'm going to say this. I want to disagree because you're saying, do you have a right to announce someone's death? You're saying, because death and birth is not a secret. Death and birth may not be a secret, right? But I'm about to say something, but it's a private thing. I'm going to say that one more time. Death and birth might not be a secret thing, but it's a private thing. And we, out of respect to people, we cannot infringe on somebody else's grief. Now, maybe in some cases, and let me say this very clearly, I'm not speaking of Bishop Norman Hutchins' family. I'm just speaking of my experience down through the years. Sometimes family members tell another family member, and then that family member feels they can tell another family member, and then it starts getting out. However, I do know that it can be controlled. It can be controlled. So I'm going to disagree with you, Lady Nixon, but I will say that death and birth may not be a secret, but it's private. Here's the deal. You won't know if my child is born until I tell you. Most people are not going to know about the death of an individual. Most people may not know the death of an individual until it's announced. You won't have that information unless it is given to you. So I don't want to be repetitive and redundant, but I will say this again. I do disagree with that statement. I do agree that death and birth may be a secret, but it's actually a private thing. No one gets the right to infringe on somebody else's birth and death unless that's been given to you. And so I'm going to move on right there. And that's why I said these things must be done out of respect. Thank you for sharing that. Death and birth may not be a secret, but it's actually a private thing. Thank you for sharing that. I want to talk about this also. So what's another reason? Potential harm. Family and close friends may learn about the death from social media or strangers, which can be deeply traumatic. Okay. I remember when the young man, Arturo, transitioned a while back. The preacher. Theo, I think you know what I'm talking about, bro. Am I saying his name right? Arturo. I want to say I'm right. He transitioned. Right? I got what he fixed it. I got you. All right. I think it was Arturo. Yes. Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay. I remember, yes, Arturo. Yes, thank you. I remember when he transitioned. I remember I got the word that he had transitioned. But I also remember the insensitive pain or the insensitivity of individuals while this young man's body is yet warm in the streets, not too far from Bishop Withers Church. And to find out that I believe his mom, his family, when they found out that people were already making announcements, that's not right. That's not right. The mom and them had not even known. I know of a person who found out that their parent passed and transitioned on social media. It had that's not what we do. That's not what we do. And like once again, it can cause potential harm. That can be very traumatic for a person. Could you imagine someone finding out about their loved one transitioning? I always tell people that know me well. If you know I love somebody, I'm real close to them. If you have my wife's number or know how to get to my wife, then you reach out to my wife and you say, hey, I got to tell Alfred something. I got to tell Alfred something. Somebody very close to him transitioned. My siblings knew that when my dad transitioned, or they knew, hey, something go down, call my wife. Don't tell me something over the phone. I had an experience finding out one of my cousins passed in 1988, Keith O'Neill Washington. I'm watching a funny story or something on TV, and I felt real funny. Then the phone call comes, and I answer the phone, and it's my uncle. My uncle, in his way of doing things, said, hey, tell your mom, just like this, tell your mom Geneva's going to need her. Keith got killed. We're at the house, and hung up. That shook me to my core. This is 1988. I'm in high school, right? I'm in high school. And I don't remember, I do remember yelling. I don't remember how I yelled. I just know I shook the house. My dad, my mom, my siblings ran in there like, what's wrong with you? I was hysterical because I had to relay that news about Keith being killed. And I hit the table so hard when I slammed the phone and said no, that my mom's marble table I broke into pieces. Why do I bring that up? I'm talking about the trauma of that. Now, this was not on social media, but it was traumatizing. And the way my uncle said it made it even more traumatizing. But when you understand the type of person he was, he said stuff matter-of-factly, and sometimes it didn't always come out in the most compassionate way. Though he was a pastor, sometimes they didn't operate in compassion. And, I didn't know that, bro. So from that point on, I didn't ever want people to call me and to tell me somebody transitioned and died. I don't want to hear that no more. Only other person that did that to me was my brother, when my grandmother, my dad's mom transitioned. I'm in Bible college. I'm at West End Bible College. He calls me about my grandmother transition. I wished he would have waited till I got out of there. I was doing the finals, doing the tests or whatnot, and I had to deal with it. And then somebody ended up talking about death that night, and it just overwhelmed me. And then I told them what happened, and they prayed for me and said, just go home. You ain't got to worry about the test that night. You'll make up for it later. I'm just saying it can be traumatizing. Also, one of the reasons under the umbrella of potential harm, it may also spread incorrect or incomplete information. And so therefore, that's not something that people should do. Okay. Now, so Lockridge, if you don't believe or think or feel that it should be announced, when is it appropriate? When the family gives you permission. If the family asks you or give you permission to help share the news, then you do it. I got the information. I was told, hey, call me at ASAP. It was difficult at that time because I had at work. And this particular person normally calls me, reaches out on occasions when death is somewhere hovering or has occurred. And then there are times they're like, okay, one of my cousins call me all the time and said, I'm going to stop doing that. So she started calling me because I automatically thought, okay, who died? So So when this particular person started calling or texting, I was like, oh my goodness. And so, but it became a thing that this person wouldn't do that. They stopped doing it. They didn't want me just to think every time that they made a phone call or every time they talked about a situation, it was death. And I didn't have the time. And said, call ASAP. Then I meant to tease her. But I was so shocked when I got the message. I was like, okay, I'm at work. Give me a time. So when I got a break, I was getting ready to text her and say, I'm getting ready to call you now. Because she was on her break. I got a little moment. And she said, do you want me to tell you? And I guess because I didn't answer my girl fast enough, then she gave the news to me. It just broke me, because he was a special person. And man, you admire people from afar, but when you get the chance to kind of know them, you develop some type of connection with them. It just does something to you. What's up, cousin? My cousin Regina says, I say that especially regarding families because it becomes far too common to open Facebook and find out a family member has passed. If the family hasn't posted or approved, you don't post. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Okay? Here's another reason. If you are the designated spokesperson, like for public figures, families often assign someone, publicist, a pastor, to speak first. I remember when I was given the permission to share the news when nephew Titus passed, one of the sons of Isaac Johnson. I was given permission to do that. Bro, what can I do? You know what I'm saying? I went to go see him in the hospital. I went to go see Ty in the hospital. I was given permission, right? It was a struggle for his pastor, of course, who was also family. Definitely a struggle. What do you want? Okay, what can I do? Within my strength and power, my ability, bro. Can you make the announcement and just tag us? Write it up how you want to write it, and then let people know, just give us some time. You got it. I was there. One of my family members transitioned. I was in the room when the person passed. I didn't go in there for the purpose for that person, to see the person pass. I just walked into a situation. What's your point, Lawbridge? I'm family, but I wasn't the family. You understand what I'm saying? I waited, right? Another situation might be when it may be appropriate in an emergency situation. Like rarely do you get that, right? In urgent and public cases, school or workplace tragedy, something like that. Leadership may need to make a statement after confirming the family has been notified, right? So it's not, I'm doing it because of what happened and because what's taking place. So bottom line, you should always ask yourself, has the family been informed? Is it my place to share this? Is it really my place? Do I have a right to share this? If you're unsure, wait or check with someone close to the family first. Shouldn't that be something we just haphazardly do? This is the sensitive situation. Ask yourself, would you like a respectful, just be respectful to the situation. Now, I'm going to bring this up. My bro, Dwayne Johnson, was not as popular, if you were on a Norman Hutchins scale, on a Martin Luther King Jr. scale, on a Prince, Michael Jackson scale, Whitney Houston scale. He wasn't, but he was popular. He was popular. Many people being too much of a herd to be the first. Correct, Gina. I'm all for. We say that a lot. When Dwayne Johnson passed, hear me well when I say this. The key people were present. The key people were present. I want to go back to the statement I made earlier. Death and birth might not be a secret, but it's a private thing. When Dwayne passed, right? When Dwayne passed, we all got to the house. We left the hospital. We got to the house. We all got the information. We had the announcement. And then they said, okay, we would release everybody at the same time to release it. Everybody at the same time to release it. We released it at the same time. Of course, many people, when they saw it, they was going to call me. I made phone calls to other people, right? Like there were certain people we tried to reach out to that we knew or that was believed to, hey, let them know. Get it out there before we made the announcement. They was like, hold on, did you tell? They kind of waited. Sharita didn't have to do that, but that's what she did. Ma didn't have to desire that. Chris, the children, Chris Byron didn't have to do that. None of them had to do that. Al didn't have to do it. The children didn't have to submit to that. But this is what Sharita wanted. When I'm saying wanted, making sure other people who was close, because they didn't want them to find out on social media. So, and when it happened, the calls were coming in like clockwork. I mean, boom, boom, just calling and call, different one calling, call. And I knew they were calling, why they were calling, right? I knew why they were calling. I knew there were many reasons why. Some were calling. Can I keep it a buck real quick, as B. McCargan would say? Some were calling out of concern because they knew the relationship Dwayne Johnson and I had. Some were calling to check on me. Some were calling to check on me, or some were calling to check through me to see how Sharita and everybody else was doing at that point. Some were calling out of concern. Others were reaching out to be nosy. Like somebody had the audacity to say, well, how come I wasn't informed? Well, maybe because you're not as immediate or connected as you think you are. Like, people act funny style when these type of circumstances take place. Okay? They act funny style. And here's the deal. Was everybody that was connected needed to know, they needed to know. But everybody act funny style. Okay? Let me say this. And I'm going to go back to Dwayne. So the other day, my Daniel Johnson, there's a flyer that was out about me doing a prayer. And I didn't see it the way he saw it. He saw the flyer and it looked like a funeral flyer. The way the faded and however he described it of me doing prayer at Community Chapel. I didn't see it that way. I got to work and some of the students were like freaking out. And I was like, so when I came to work, when I came to work, they just see me do a live. So it shook some of them to the core. Because I just did a live and it was like, oh my gosh. But then they saw me do a live and it was cool. I said to them, if for whenever I transition and my family, my wife, whoever's alive, right? It's going to be done way different than that. people probably won't know I transition probably into the next day. Why do I say the next day? Because I have a big family. I got to make sure those in California know. I got to make sure those, especially my Arkansas family, and that goes all over the place. I got family all over, right? Like my children gotta, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot. My in-laws, or I don't never say in-law, my in-laws, they would have to know. Sharitha Johnson, the Johnsons, they would have to. These are people who have to. You get what I'm saying? There are certain people, and I don't start naming because somebody may get offended. But I'm saying that to say certain people will be like, bam, call them. They would have to know, right? Not through social media. They would have to know, right? That doesn't mean the minute that, if I transition, that don't mean immediately, okay, just start calling. They got to process that thing. When my father transitioned, we had to processing that thing. We was processing that thing. Everybody didn't know, but the phone calls went out. Or you designate certain people in your family. Hey, so and so passed. Get this to it. I'm not required to call everybody. I'm just there with my Arkansas family. That's a big family. In 1 year, we had a lot of losses. My Uncle Cleester, we grew up calling him Uncle Sonny, my Uncle Charles, in 1 year. Okay. All right. Just this 1 year, right? Guess what? Wasn't a lot of calls coming in? Wasn't a lot of calls coming? Did y'all hear me? Wasn't a lot of calls coming? I will talk off and on, and this is my cousin that's on here, y'all. She said there used to be a way of things and an unofficial family phone tree. Maybe we need to reestablish that, right? But I think we have our little private family page. I think that's good too. But, I knew off and on that my uncle was not doing the best. And I was talking to my cousin Regina that y'all seen right here. Listen, I wasn't offended that she didn't be like, hey, your uncle passed. Whoever gave us the message, it was fine. I was aware of the situation. This is their dad that has transitioned. What it looked like me being a cousin wilding out and tripping. That wouldn't make sense to me. That just wouldn't make sense to me at all. Okay. It wouldn't make sense. Okay. Let me continue. So I saw something else on the internet, and they was like, well, if they popular, then it shouldn't be. So now you got to ask yourself, a person who has passed as popular or a celebrity, should someone announce that person's death before the family does? It is still generally not appropriate to announce their death before the family or official representatives do. Here's why I believe respect comes first, even for public figures. I'll give you a perfect example. And this is not dropping names to be grand or whatever, but I want to make a valid point. Okay, I want to make a very, very valid point. What's the point you want to make? I am real close to the Atkins. Most people call them Mary. Do you know the Mary? Well, I'm very close to that family and have been since we were teenagers. If I got a phone call from any of them concerning their mom, concerning one of the siblings, right? whatever. If I got a phone call from whomever, I would not go online because I got that connection and do that. No, that still would be, and they are public figures. They are public figures. Listen, unless unless it's Shantae Atkins, I guarantee you, somebody in that family transition. Andre, her brother Daryl, her auntie Audrey, whomever. And I guarantee you, Shantae's not the one that transitioned. I guarantee you, I'm going to get a phone call from Shantae. Hands down. If it's something dealing with Shantae, I think the person that I think that would probably say something to me would probably be Google first. Now, it may shock me. Lena may hit me up. Tina may hit me up. Erica maybe. But my point is, these people are popular. They are known. When Bishop G.E. Patterson transitioned, because of a connection that I had, guess what? I got word that Bishop G.E. Patterson transitioned. I got the word. Now, I wasn't, excuse me, I wasn't told. Now, don't say nothing, because they knew when they reached out to me that I knew not to say anything. Oh, let me go back. When he officially passed. Why do I say official? Because it was rumored that Bishop had passed and he was alive and well. He was alive and well. It was ridiculous. I know who to call, and they was like, no, he's alive and well. And they had literally just got off the phone with him, and he passed some months or a year or so way after that. That's what I'm saying. So, and I want to say this, being famous doesn't remove their humanity. I'm going to say that again. Being famous doesn't remove their humanity. Their family deserves the dignity of the first notice and time to grieve privately before the public reacts. It's disrespectful to hear people say, well, they're a public figure. They are a public figure, so they should know about it. That's disrespectful. How does some other family's grief now become your duty to be disrespectful? And if you don't think that's disrespectful, you need to work on it. Let me see. I understand this is concerning Facebook. I said no because of the speed of the internet. However, in my generation, it was urgent to spread the word via Telegram so the process could start towards burial. However, I would never post a death. But I have never heard in my generation, 69, someone died. These words, don't tell anyone. The internet feels brutal. I agree. Well, I'm going to say this. Everybody's experience is different, but I'm going to say this. This has nothing to do with the internet. I have many family members, right? We've had, and my cousin's on here, we've had our grandparent, great-grandmother die in their hundreds. They're in their hundreds. It got around, but it got around. When we talking about don't tell anyone, we're make sure family members know first, and then it goes out. You're talking about a different season in time. You said, "Hi, my journey. It was urgent to spread the word." Well, I don't know about. I can't say that it wasn't because you said 69. You know what I'm saying? 69. Oh, thank you, cousin. I wasn't trying to go for the year. I was saying it was in their hundreds. Okay, but 103 and a half. Right. 102 was my great grandmother. 103 and a half was my grandmother, Bernice Coates. All right. But let me go back. I was just saying they were in their hundreds. I just wanted to stress the fact. And a lot of us was already around and in the city and all of that. But I know of older people. This is not something that just internet for me. I remember this as a kid or as a teenager, that they wanted to make sure every family member knew that was family. Right. Right. I know 69 is your age. Yeah. That's what I was saying. I said whether 69 or not. Yeah. Yes, mother was adamant about that half. She said, I'm going to outlive my mama. And she did. So, yeah, I understood about your age. That's not, yeah, when I read the 69, I knew exactly what she was making reference to. Yeah, I knew exactly what she was making reference to. What I'm saying is, I know of people your age right now that didn't do that. I know of someone right now who transitioned earlier this year, wanted to make sure her family member was aware. And when she transitioned, then I end up, I was very close to this family, helped in a lot of ways. When I found out, it was put on social media. It shook me to my core because I just had a conversation with this person. I wasn't going to be selfish and be like, well, why shouldn't she tell me? Why? And I don't think even at the time that when the family member put it up there, that the family members wanted to be put up there as of yet, because it just happened. And then I made a phone call. I was like, this is my sister. I'm calling. And she was grateful that I did. And I told, the other brothers that she looked at as brothers, hey, boom, have a conversation. You can call her. So I'm just saying, yeah, it was urgent back then because of telegrams. I'm saying, I remember back in that day, it's different. Everybody wasn't spread out the way we are today. And then internet and people just want to do their own thing. Let me hurry up because I don't want to be here this much longer. Premature announcements can lead to confusion, misinformation, or even hoax, especially on social media. So who should announce it? For public figures, death announcements typically come from the immediate family, a spokesperson or publicist, a verified news outlet, but only after confirmation from family or official sources. When Kobe Bryant transitioned and it went across the board, who was that? I'm going to say TNT, ain't TNT. Lord Jesus. What's that? Oh, I'm thinking too hard. Father God. Wasn't CNN. What is that other one? Y'all help me. I just had a brain freeze. That's funny. Oh, God, I see it. I'm seeing the name in my head. Oh, somebody write it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Kylan, you still there? TMZ. Thank you. Girl, I know it with a T. All right, TMZ. These are authorized individuals, right? That did stuff. I remember when some of the pictures got out. That's why Kobe Bryant's wife went after the police, because there were photos that was released that should not have been released. That's not your place to do that. That's disrespectful. Okay. All right. A risk, even doing public figures, of announcing things too soon. Incorrect information spreads quickly and it's hard to correct. Emotional distress for the family, friends, and fans. I remember when Whitney Houston transitioned and it was finally official, I immediately called one of my friends. He was freaking out. He lost his mind. He actually met Whitney Houston, had her connection, messed him totally up. Reputational damage for the personal outlet that rushed to be first. Now everybody mad at you because you put it out there. Okay? When early announcements might happen carefully. So let's say if a person died in a public setting, like a live broadcast. I remember when the wrestler Owen Hart, while doing a performance, he died on the live broadcast. And I forget, I think it was one of those WrestleManias or one of those. He died. They had to keep the show going so it wouldn't really startle the audience. Okay? But if a person died in a public setting, like a live broadcast or major event, media may report quickly, but ethical journalists wait for confirmation. What do we mean? What I mean by that? Even if somebody was there and seen it die, if they're ethical, they're not going to just, oh, I'm here and so just died. No. I'm knowing the people who were watching the news and they saw the car. When our sister got killed in 2007, how some people found out about it is that it was dealing with Sharon. They saw her two boys on the news. That because the news got there and you can see a video or the camera or the live showing them walking or being in the area. That's how some other people found out. But we were still trying to process this tragedy. If the family is not reachable, but the death is already known widely through verified channels, law enforcement, hospital, responsible outlets may proceed carefully, but with clarity and respect. So let's remember, no matter how famous someone is, let the family speak first, unless you've been given permission. Okay? Let me talk about this, and I think I'll be done. Okay? Should people ask what happened when someone dies? What do y'all think about that? Should people ask what happened when someone dies? If you say no, tell me why you say no. If you say yes, tell me why you say yes, whether I agree with you or not. I'm going to wait to see some of your comments. Anybody writing? Should people ask what happened when someone dies? What are your thoughts on that? If you say no, tell me why. If you say yes, tell me why. It's going on 10:10. I need to get out of here. All right. Okay. So my cousin said that's tricky. I usually don't. If you're in the know, they would tell you. Okay. All right. So you said, so my Regina said that's tricky. I usually don't. If you're in the know, they would tell you. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else want to share? When should people ask what happened when someone dies? Okay, so you said Jenny also says if you don't know, it would come out eventually, just wait. Okay, you said not sure, it depends. Okay, so hey girl Smith, you say not sure, it depends upon what? When you say not sure, it depends, what does it depend upon? So let me express, and I've said this down through the years. In general, I'm going to say no, not right away. Someone loved one just transitioned. Someone loved one just died. Especially in those early moments or days, it's usually not appropriate to ask what happened. Not in those first moments. It just happened. Just transitioned. Okay. See, because when you do that, it can feel invasive or insensitive when grief is raw. Okay. It puts pressure on the grieving person to revisit trauma or explain something painful before they're ready. Let's say, for example, I'm gonna go to a very traumatic experience for somebody else. Okay, when okay, let me see. Um, okay, so not sure the past said if they close to you, they will automatically tell you. Kind of tell them because I was asked that when my uncle passed, and I was like, "Why are you asking me that? You're supposed to be encouraging." That's where my mind went. Got you. Okay. I look at it as being a level of sensitive. So I remember when Whitney Houston transitioned. Okay. Um, I got my I remember when Whitney Houston transitioned. That was traumatizing for Bobby Christina. Can't tell me it wasn't. The reason why I'm bringing that up, I wanna bring it to this point. What happened to your mama? Was she on drugs? Was she? Who wants to do that? How many times somebody got to ask, well, what happened? Oh, well, they had a seizure and fell out and didn't recover. And then some people reach out to you in your inbox. They reach out to your DMs or they'll text you and they'll say what happened. If you're not close to them, and even if you are close to them, I just believe you ought to wait it out. Because if you're that close, they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you. And it's human to wonder, oh my God, what happened? Like a lot of people, whether you know it or not, a lot of people, because of what happened today with Bishop Norman Hutchins transition, with him just was somewhere teaching the Bible Institute, was getting ready to do his release and do a recording and all of this. So automatically, oh my God, what happened? You know, was he, that's automatic. But you don't just call, inbox his wife and inbox his family and be like, like Dr. Hutchins, what happened to your husband? If you need to, why do you need to know at that point? This is not 5 days later, it's the day of. Can these people have an opportunity to experience and go through? You understand what I'm saying? That's a sensitive thing. My cousin, when Dad passed, I got my first text less than 30 minutes later. Hadn't even processed myself. It's too raw. Look, I think that's different for me, Gina. I think that's different. When people found out my dad passed and it was released, I got all kind of text messages. A lot of people responded on my social media. Those that were close to me, that were real close to me, they found me and came where I was. And then those that could not come to where I was, they reached out to me. So I think in that situation, just to say I'm checking on you, now, unless you're telling me they asked you what happened to your dad, then yeah, they was out of pocket. But if you're talking about just saying, hey, I saw the announcement about your parents' death. I'm so sorry. I think for me that's different. I would wait a while before asking. But what is a while to you? When you say you'll wait a while, what's a while to you? Gina says, give your condolences and move on. Just wait. Okay. So I didn't think it's invasive and it's insensitive. When might it be okay to ask gently? If you are, and this one a close friend or family, someone they've opened up to in the past. And you ask gently with care and space to say no. Okay? a text asking what happened. Oh, wow. That's foul. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Because let me tell y'all something. If you're really close to certain people, you would know. Like I said, my family is big. And our family is going through, we got family members going through so many sicknesses and challenges. We have family members that's battling cancer right now. We getting ready to have a family reunion. We haven't had a family reunion in years. Do y'all hear me? In years. And I say what you want to, it's going to be a different experience because a lot of the key people that we normally would see are not present. It's different. You know what I'm saying? You look for certain people. You expect certain people. You look to see certain people. They're not there. We've had, relatives. I told you about 2 uncles and one of my cousins transition. We've had young cousins transition. One of my cousin, one of my cousins it's just like, it's like boom. It's like what are we doing? Like young, tragic. Two of our cousins died tragic, young. It's tragic. It's tragic. It was on the news. You know what I'm saying? These are tragic situations. Even when your uncles transition, no matter when you used to seeing your parents a strong way and you sing strong men and you see them debilitate before your eyes, that'll take you literally out of your mind. It'll wear you out to no end. Right? But if you know, you know. And then it's just a given. Some cousins are closer to other because of age. Some closer to other because they have a deeper connection. And being closer to others doesn't mean you don't love them, but sometimes you draw close to certain people. But the love is strong. Shout out to the Ashby Coach generation. We have entrepreneurs in our family. We have preachers and singers and business persons and medical, and everybody's in this family, talented in so many aspects. You feel me? Just so many ways. All right. I said I'm on an hour and 5 minutes. Let me conclude this. So if you're a close friend, family member, someone they've opened up to, and you ask gently with care and space to say no, then you might ask if and when you feel ready. I like to understand what happened, but no pressure at all. That way you're honoring their grief without demanding details. Because what does happen on the details know? Somebody reached out to me and said, what happened to so and so and so and so? Like you reached out to me like I was going to give you information. They died. When Dwayne Johnson, one of my best friends, my best bros, he transitioned. Let me tell you, that was one of the questions. What happened? What happened? What happened? Because when we made the announcement, it shocked a lot of people. But my point being is, like I said, it's natural for people to ask, but it's the sensitivity of it. Like, I just got to know. Why you got to know at that point? People are just trying to process that stuff. All right. When they offer first, if the grieving person volunteers information, then that's your cue. You can listen with compassion without going deeper than they want to go. I've had people start telling me that I'm not even that close to, but they trust to talk to me, and they start telling me, oh, Lafridge, da 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 da, and then this happened, and then they start spilling it, and I'm like, ooh. They felt comfortable. I let them talk. And then I advise, you don't have to answer the phone. You don't have to keep repeating the story. Designate somebody else. I remember when my spiritual father, Prophet Roger Secure, transitioned, and I got that phone call. I appreciate my God, Sister Tanya, for this. She said, I'm calling. Now I'm close to Grace. I'm close. I'm close to Peter. I'm close to Roger. I'm close to Philip. I'm close to them. I'm closer to Grace, to John, and to Tanya, especially to Tanya. I'm very close to her, right? When Mama D passed, she made sure I knew. When her dad passed, she said, I had to make sure that you didn't find this out for nobody else. And when I got myself together, I drove myself to Pasadena. Messed up because I just saw him prophesying somebody the night before, and it threw me off. And that was the year everybody seemed like they was dying. In 2021. Y'all say what y'all want to. Tell me, oh, this is a good year. That was a horrible year emotionally for me. Horrible. You know it's horrible when you're turning 50 that year. You have a conversation I had a conversation with Dwayne Johnson, and I told Dwayne was like, oh man, you about to turn 50 this year. We're going to do da-da-da-da. I didn't care for no 50th birthday party. No, I didn't want to do anything. I was just that, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to. And when the Cure transition, that made it even worse. I really don't want to do anything. I could have literally, y'all, lost my mind in that moment. Because you talk about the 5 stages of grief and you try to go through that one. By the time you try to conquer every death, you got to go through a grieving process. And you got to grieve through this one. And you got to grieve through that. Oh, my Lord. It's hard to process. Like even today, somebody inboxed me. Oh, I forgot to tell you. And all I saw was Dad passed. And I'm like, wait. And I sit there and I was looking at that. And I said, wait a minute. I just talked to him. What you mean he passed? And I said, wait, relax yourself, Dwayne. And when I relaxed myself, I looked and I noticed that the mom was telling me that her son's dad passed yesterday. I didn't see yesterday. I didn't see none of that. I just told somebody passed, and it shook me. Okay. And I said, okay, I read it. I said, girl, the way I just read that, it just got me. So when the Cure transition, I made phone calls. Some of those phone calls was hilarious. Some of those phone calls were interesting. And I literally said, hello, this is Dwayne Lumpridge, calling on behalf of Pastor Grace the Cure, Pastor John the Cure, Tanya the Cure. And I just let you know, I'm just calling on behalf of the Cure family to let you know that Prophet transitioned. What? What happened? Calling to let you know that Prophet transitioned. Now, when I say a funny situation, one person, they're a prophetic person. They were like, oh my God, the Lord didn't show nobody anything. I was like, no prophet, no one, the Lord did not reveal it. No, the Lord did not reveal it. Oh my God. And I knew this person was trying to process what I just told her. And she was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. You know, are you sure the Lord didn't give no visions, no dreams? And she's one of those the Lord gives visions and dreams. She was messed up. You know, and I'm like, well, if he didn't show it to you, he didn't show nobody else. You see what I'm saying? Now, it's funny when we talk about it after the fact, but she was dead. She was serious. So she was very serious about the situation. Okay. So pressuring with, was it an accident? Was it suicide? Was it drugs? Leave that alone. Making it about your curiosity instead of your pain. Stop making it about, I'm going to put some of these on and write them down. Stop making your curiosity about you instead of their pain. Don't be in the public sections or group chat that can be feel disrespectful and even exploitative. Oh, I'm gonna get this out of you. You're gonna tell me what's going on. What should you say? I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm here for you. I'm praying for you. When you're ready to talk about anything, I'm here. And then I'm going to put this on I'm closing. Oh, wait, before I do my close, that's going to be my closing. Let me see what my boy Connor said. I think the only way I would ask what happened is if I called a few days later to check in and we on the phone talking for some time. I'll probably be like, if I can ask what happened. But my experience too, and you said if that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. But my experience is when you are in that connection, they will eventually say something. I've seen it, even with people that I don't even talk to like that. I've seen it. They trust you, and they'll hit you up. They'll ask you to do certain things. Can you make the announcement? When Mother Peel transitioned, I was asked, can you do it? When a young lady named Kiara transitioned, I was asked, can you make the announcement? A lot of people are like, I know something's going to be true because you put it on there. Even when Dwayne transitioned, there were people call me and I heard and I thought it was a crazy question, but my wife was like, well, it don't look at it as crazy. Look at it, they're in shock. And that's how I have to look at it. Because somebody asked me, is it true? Well, am I going to post my best friend? One of my best friends died, who I've been knowing since the 80s. Am I about to just make up something? So I had to get out of that feeling and just understand that there is just other people that loved him, and they had a high regard for him, and it was on the level of they're trying to process it. Oh, and let me say this too, on this level, this ain't got nothing. Well, it's connected, but not. Don't be telling people when somebody well, I feel the same pain you do. No, you don't. No, you don't. If y'all been around me any days of my life, y'all have heard I've said this in many settings because it changed and changes the way I try to deal with people and how I want people to deal with me. My youngest, I used to tell her she wasn't feeling that way. And she used to tell me when she was a kid, a younger kid, a child, Daddy, you're not in my body. I'm telling y'all, when you go around, you tell people, well, I feel the same loss you do. No, you don't. You may empathize, right? You may identify with the loss of a child or a loss of a parent or a loss of whatever, but you can't say, oh, I feel the same way. You don't. You can't tell a child whose dad or mom has transitioned, or dad and mom, because I've known somebody whose mom and dad died 5 minutes apart from each other on their wedding surprise to go to pick up their daughter from school. And while on their way to pick up their daughter from school, they called the school and said, don't tell her I'm coming. So while we got a bunch of kids in this children's church I was teaching, while we got a bunch of kids angry and upset with their mom, pissed off at their dad, pissed off at their grandmother, whoever their legal guardian was. I mean, just angry and pissed off and just bothered and vexed and irritated and all of that. This girl gets up and talks about her grief and how while y'all sitting there fussing and angry at your parents or whoever your legal guardian is, she said, I lost my parents. This is strange, y'all. At the same time, they both got in an accident 5 minutes from picking up their daughter. At the same time, got in a tragic accident. At the same time, died. Here you in the morning talking about love you, mom, love you, dad. And both parents call the school and say, don't tell her I'm coming, it's a surprise. And don't tell my spouse I'm coming to pick him up. It's going to be a surprise. Because earlier that morning, one said, oh, I'll pick her up. No, you have to pick her up. I'll do it. And they're trying to surprise each other. And they get there, and the girl loses both her parents at the same time. And that whew, that was a deep situation. Like a lot of things shocked me, a lot of things kept me on guard, but that caught me off guard. I was like, whoo, like what counseling this girl's gonna need to have to process that whole situation. And so I said that to say, don't say I feel you in the sense of I feel the same pain you feel. No, you don't. Girl, young man, I feel for you too. No, you may, and I get a lot of people sitting in audiences or in services and they say, well, I sat where you sat. I sat where you sat. You may sit where I sat, but you don't feel what I'm feeling. Because some people's relationships is different with their children. They're different with their parent. They're different with whomever. You don't have that same connection. You don't have that. And you can't get there and put it in comments, well, I felt the loss just as bad as you do. You don't. I've had to stop myself in a season when people were saying stuff to my nephews, to my nieces, and saying stupid stuff. And I found out later that some people said some stuff and it was kept from me because you all are insensitive. Why are you saying stupid stuff the way you're saying? Yeah, what? Like, what? You're crazy. That was the, what? They said what? Okay, I don't want to go on that rant. I'm not going to go on that rant. No, it's not a problem with you saying I feel you because it's empathy. Empathy is to identify with a pain. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with empathy. Nothing wrong. You said identify with that. Like you identify with the loss, but your LOSS is not the same as somebody else LOSS, though the feeling of the loss might be familiar, but how you, I won't say digest, but how you navigate those emotions might be different. And everybody grieves differently. So it's okay to say, I feel you, meaning, especially if you feel them sympathy, you feel sorry for what they're going through, or empathize and you identify with the emotion, but not necessarily the emotion that they have. All right. Let me shut it down. It's 10:35. I'm going to close with this. Grief deserves gentleness. Curiosity can wait. Compassion cannot. Grief deserves gentleness. Curiosity can wait. Compassion cannot. That's my final thought. Grief deserves gentleness. It's not my quote. I saw it on this quote. I don't know who said it, but I like it. Grief deserves gentleness. Curiosity can wait. Compassion cannot. So no matter what we're doing, no matter how we're doing, remember that. Grief deserves gentleness. Curiosity can wait. Compassion cannot. Okay? All right. So he says, okay, because I said that I feel you to someone and it went somewhere else, so I just stopped saying it. Okay. Well, everybody's different. So yeah, everybody's different. Okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm out of here. To your question, should we advise it before the family? No, if we know the family, it's best to let them release the info for privacy. But is it wrong? No, technically no, especially if they don't know the person. It is public information when it comes to someone that loves their life in a public view. Well, I'm gonna disagree with that. And I said it earlier, and I'm not going to be redundant. Go back and watch the whole thing, Bishop. But is it wrong? Yeah, it's definitely wrong for somebody to announce somebody else's death, whether they're public or not, to me, even if they don't know the person. Because if I found out privately, then I shouldn't take it public. I said it earlier. I said it earlier, and I may not say it the exact same way. Death and birth may not be a secret, but it's a private situation. It's a private thing. And that's why I say that. And I already talked about the public eye, and I use the family, the Atkins, Mary, and all of them. It still doesn't give us the right to infringe. Just go back and listen to it. You'll see it. It said, unfortunately, we live in a right now fast. Yeah, very difficult to come keep it private. I don't think it's very difficult to keep it private. And you said it's proper and right are two different things. I think is if it's proper, it's going to be right, and I believe if it's right, it's going to be proper. Because if it's not proper, then it's not going to be right. And I believe it's not going to be right, it's not going to be proper. Because proper denotes that it is appropriate to do. And it's right to do. That's just me. But let me get off. Father, I thank you tonight. Lord, I pray that you just continue to bless everybody that's going through. Tomorrow, the Burdettes are going to the Burdette family, the House of Prayer family, and those who love Mother Dolores Burdette. They're going carry them through. It's a lot of heavy hitters in their family. Dad Burdette, Drea, Lord God, and now Mama Dolores Burdette. I pray that you strengthen the Hutchins family, touch his wife, touch his whole family in the name of the Lord. Just everyone that genuinely loved him, who are affected across this world, people he sold into, people he spoke that words of encouragement and spoke prophetically in their life, gave them a laugh, gave them an inspirational word, encouraged them. Anybody else who's dealing with death that we know not of, I pray that you'll comfort them and you'll lead and you help them get through. Holy Spirit, be their comforter in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. God bless y'all. Thank y'all for hanging with me. Like I said, tomorrow's a very busy day. Two celebrations, if you will. Celebration of life as it relates to somebody whose life impacted many people in the morning, and then celebrating Pastor and First Lady Peters' 40 years of service. All right. And now my brother's calling me. He's probably calling me about tomorrow. So much prayer, much power. Little prayer, little power. No prayer, no power. Go with God, and he will go with you. And I believe God.